Good evening and welcome to our forum for the Independent School District School Board on the April 2nd election. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Kansas City, Jackson, Clay, and Platte counties. I am Anitra Steele and I am a member of this league. The League of Women Voters is a trusted grassroots, nonpartisan organization whose members do the hands-on work to safeguard democracy. While we neither endorse nor oppose candidates or political parties, we are directly involved in sharing important issues. Our mission is to empower voters and to defend our democracy. We envision a democracy where every citizen has the knowledge, the right, the desire, and the confidence to participate. Our membership is open to everyone. I'd like for you to know the other league members volunteering with me. Cindy Schmidt is the timekeeper, and our Zoom is monitored by Laura and Dave Montjoy. I lead our forums admin committee team, and the public was invited to send in questions via the league's website, lwvkc.org. Tonight, we welcome our moderator, Cheryl Barnes. Cheryl?
Thanks, Anitra. I'm delighted to join you for this Independent School Board Candidate Forum. Tonight, we'll hear from the 7 candidates running for 3 seats. Each term is 6 years. Forums last approximately 90 minutes. I'll ask each candidate the same question selected from those submitted by the public. The order of candidate responses has been determined by random rotation. Each candidate will be given 60 seconds to respond to each question and 2 minutes for a closing statement. All of the candidates running for this office were invited, and they're all here this evening. We have one in France, Brandy, and you'll see her telephone on the screen. And Mr. Green is having difficulties with his video, but everybody else you will be able to see on the screen. So we welcome you all and thank you for coming tonight. So we have Wendy Baird, Carrie Dixon, Dennis Green, Zach Harmon McLaughlin, Eric Knipp, Brandy Parente, and Jason Volmecki. This forum will be recorded and available on the league's webpage, lwvkc.org. Candidates, please stick to the question asked and stick to the topic. There'll be no rebuttals, but you may go back to an issue during your 2-minute closing remarks. Let us begin. So the first question, we will start with Wendy, and that is, and this will be the same for all of you. Please introduce yourself and tell us what motivated you to run for the Board of Education, your personal skills and knowledge about schools and governance that make you qualified to be a school board member.
You bet. Thank you very much to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. My name is Wendy Baird. As a mom with a young student during the height of COVID, I fought for our virtual students when they weren't receiving the same education as their in-person peers. Despite my commitment to being part of the solution to make things better for all students and their teachers, I was turned away and dismissed. But they underestimated me. I don't give up that easily. Since then, I have tirelessly and courageously stood up in front of our district leaders to ask for common sense reforms to ensure all of our families are informed, engaged, and included. I had not planned to run for school board, but with my background in journalism and nonprofit management, I am uniquely positioned to not only understand how to inform and engage all of our stakeholders, but also how to ensure our board operates under the very best governance. I have tried to make change from the outside with very little success for the past 3 years. And so it's time to make some change from the inside. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, and that goes to Carrie.
Yeah, hi, my name is Carrie Dixon. I actually am a parent in the district. I have 2 kids that have graduated from the district, and then I have a current sophomore in high school. I'm running as an incumbent school board member. I've been on the board for the last 6 years. I believe that is making me very poised and ready to continue to do business in the district. I absolutely am very confident in the job description of a school board member, and I'm ready to continue to do that job. I have served our community through my work in a nonprofit organization that serves youth that has made me uniquely qualified to understand the socioeconomical status of our community and to be able to advocate for our kids and have a great wealth of knowledge to be able to really understand what it is that we need to do to be continue to make ISD great.
Thank you. Eric, same question to you, please.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having us this evening. My name's Eric Knipp. I'm also running for re-election as an incumbent on the school board. I think the last 6 years has really taught me a lot about how the school board runs and how the business of the district is supposed to be performed. I have a strong business background, financial background, as I've been a business owner for the last 27 years. I have been active in the community for the last 2 decades. I've served on numerous committees, chaired the board of Chamber of Commerce, Rotary Club. So I know I have a business background that enables me to bring that acumen to the school board to run the business of the district, and that's what we're there to do. I feel like there are so many positive things that are happening right now in the school board and in the school district, and I'm poised to continue that work. So thank you.
Thank you. Same question goes to you, Brandy.
Hi, I'm Brandy Parente, and I am an educator. I'm in my 18th year of teaching French. I have my master's degree in foreign language education. I taught for 13 years in Independence, and I have 3 students in the district, 2 at Bryant Elementary and 1 at Bingham Middle School. I think those 2 parts right there are huge pieces. The fact that I'm a parent and an educator, that would bring a great experience to the school board. And I also am the PTA president at Bryant Elementary. I've been on the PTA for about 8 years now. So have a lot of experience working with the students and the teachers in that aspect as well. As an educator, I have been on professional development committees. I've also been on the negotiating committee in several buildings as well. So I think that I have a wide range of experience in advocating for students and staff alike.
Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Brandy. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Can you see the timer?
I cannot.
Okay, then I'll just stop you then. Or you could.
That would be great.
It's 60 seconds. Jason, same question,
Perfect.
please.
Hi, my name is Dr. Jason Volmecki. I am a chiropractor and certified medical examiner here in Independence. I am a product of the Independence School District, back when I would have argued that it was one of the best districts in the country. I just don't think that we can say that anymore. I first decided to run in 2022 over issues of accessibility and transparency and accountability. And I'm here to see that through. Also, I'm running again because for the past year and a half has been a rough one, having my constitutional rights violated by the current board. We received a preliminary injunction that just based on the facts that is what happened. So I'm here to help the board be more transparent and accountable and accessible to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach, same question.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. I'm Zach Harmon McLaughlin. I am a dad of 2 incredibly wonderful girls. One is a first grader at Bryant Elementary, and the other is a 2-year-old, so not quite ready to be in public school quite yet. And I'm running to, similar to Jason, I'm running to increase the transparency and reciprocity of the board with our community. I'm a very engaged father, and I found participation in our district, particularly in the decision-making process and engaging the data that has been used, to be lacking. And one of the reasons I find that is because of my professional and personal experience in our community and in nonprofits. So I work in higher education. I have my doctorate in leadership. I sit on a number of boards. Currently, I'm on the CSL board. I understand assessment and evaluation from a professional standard, as well as the function of governance in terms of systems and culture. So I'm working to increase that transparency and accessibility as well.
Thank you. Dennis, same question.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Green, and first of all, I got to apologize for not being able to get the video up, but I'm not that tech savvy to do that, so we'll do what we can. I started my community service in 1979 when I became a Sugar Creek police officer. I spent 4 years in Sugar Creek and then went to my ultimate job, which was with the Independence Police Department, where I spent 33 years active duty. I retired as a captain in 2016 and then continued my reserve status and became the public safety director for the Independence School District. I have been there for 6 years and then retired in February of 23. During my time, I got to watch a lot of the activities going on with the school board, and the district has done some great things, and we've built schools on the west side. I've seen so much improvement on the west side of town with the things that's gone on with Van Horn High School and the new stadium.
Time, Dennis, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, next question will be the same question to all of you, and we will start with Carrie, and that is, please tell us one thing that you think is going well in the district and one thing you would work on to improve or initiate in the Independent School District.
Yeah, I would say that, one of the things I think is going really well is the financial stability in our school district. We have done a really good job with using ESSER funds to create a base of money that we are going to be able to use in hard times. We didn't use those ESSER funds to pay for ongoing expenses such as teacher salaries. And so we are in a great position where we can afford the teachers that we have in our district. I believe that our teachers are, I'm excited about the pay increase that we're going to be giving our teachers. And I'm excited that we have quality teachers in our classrooms. And they're very confident and experienced teachers. Certified teachers in the classroom is one of the most important things that we can do. And every classroom in our district has a certified teacher in it.
Great, thank you. Brandy, same question to you. Tell us one thing that you think is going well and one thing you would work on to improve things in the school district.
I think that we have an academy concept at our high school level that has done well thus far. And it's done a great job of providing some different programs for our high schoolers and for them to be able to get some IRCs, which would be some certificates to be able to go out into the workforce when they graduate. So that's been a great program for them. Some things I would like to initiate would be different ways for parents and the community to be able to engage with our leadership and our administration. And that would, I think we would be able to improve all programs in that way. So if we had more forums, more meeting parents where they are and having meetings in school buildings and providing maybe meals for children while we met with parents when we have like Title I meetings, for example, or having podcasts where we would bring experts in and also interview parents at that time, and have more transparent board meetings. And in that aspect, then parents would be able to bring issues to the school board and we would be able to improve programming. All right, thank you.
You might be able to hear that little chirping sound when you get to time. Same question for you, Zach.
Yeah, thank you. There are a couple things I think that are going really well. Brandy mentioned it. I think the structure and approach of our ISD academies is incredibly innovative and a gift to our students and something that really gives them an advantage in the world. However, I also think there's definitely room for improvement within the academy structure. While I think it's great, I think there's some things that could be going better. And I wonder about the evaluation structure of that. And the other thing that I really think is great is the partnership with the community college. You know, our students have the ability to take an enormous amount of credits through the community college that prepares them well, which is also really wonderful. The thing I would improve is the transparency. It's hard to get information when we've created exclusion and inaccessibility between the board and the community. We have so many boundaries and restrictions in place that make it inaccessible and unable for people to actually have conversation and share information clearly and transparently. And that has to improve so that we can continue the process of improvement across the whole district.
Thank you. Eric, same question. One good thing about the district and one thing you would like to initiate or improve on?
Well, I'll just kind of piggyback off of Carrie a little bit. One great thing that's happening right now is our recruitment of teachers. We're doing a great job with, you know, the 4-day week has allowed us to really increase the number of applications that we get for certificated teachers and employees in our district. And we're filling the classrooms with a certificated teacher in every classroom. And so that's a great thing that's happening right now, because we can't educate our kids unless we have the most quality teachers. And we're getting a lot of tenured teachers that are coming to our district too. So that's even better for our students. One thing that we consistently are improving on is our academic growth and our achievement in the classroom. We have some great information that just came out from DESE and on our academic growth. And I think that's one thing we're consistently working on to get those numbers up and to show that we are doing great things in the district and our teachers are really doing a great job.
Super. Jason, same question. One good thing and one thing you would like to improve on?
To echo Zach, the academies and Project Lead the Way have been an incredible opportunity for this district. I wish it was around while I was in school. And that's why I've dedicated so much time to the biomedical sciences program here in Independence to help build it up, whether that's offering opportunities for kids to come in and shadow me or doing guest lecturing. Things that I would improve upon have a lot to do with the school board itself. I mean, I would like to see, it's been mentioned, having a community advisory committee come quarterly. I think that's a great idea. Having sub-district representation for each school on the board, I think is a very great idea that needs further discussion as well. Term limits and reducing the terms of the school board right now. 6 years and unlimited terms is a very long time. Lastly, I would like to say on record that I disagree with the 4-day school week, and I think our kids should be in school more. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy?
Hi. If one of my favorite things about our district is if you ask anyone what the best school in ISD is, they're going to name the one that their kids go to. And I think that that is a testament to our staff members in those schools and also our students. We have some fantastic students in the ISD, and I think that we should celebrate them. It's fantastic. My concerns go back to our school board and just the way that it operates. In my own experience, it has been so hard just to get real concrete information from our school board. You have to be at the meeting. You have to have your bottom in a seat on a Tuesday night in order to know what they're discussing, because they're not recorded or broadcast. The agendas are very, very basic. You get one line of context that you're supposed to decide if you want to speak on or not. You don't get any of the details before the decisions are made. You have to special request a board packet. It's all just so hard to know what's actually going on.
Thank you. Dennis?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm about safety, and my background is wanting to protect the kids and to make sure that our staff and our kids are safe. And fortunately, with the bond issues that were passed, and we were able to secure all of our school entrances so that they have a double entryway so that no one is allowed to go into the actual school without first coming through the offices. That's one of the great things that we have done, along with changing and improving our video and training for our teachers. And we'd like to see that with students as well. One thing that I think we can do better is the communication part. I think it would be a good idea to have maybe some more town hall meetings to get to know your directors and things like that. And I would be welcoming that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're on to the next question then. Students in public schools are of many world religions or no religion, and the same for their sex and gender. How can public schools recognize the plurality of students? Please give us 2 or 3 ideas. And for this one,
Can you repeat that question?
sure. Eric, we're going to start with you. Students in public schools are of many world religions and no religions, and the same for sex and gender. How can public schools recognize the plurality of students? Please give us 2 or 3 ideas.
Well, number one, I think the school district does a great job of welcoming all of our students, no matter where they come from. And our focus needs to really be on the education of our students. And every student is important to the ISD. And we don't want anybody to fall through the cracks, no matter what their background is, where they come from. So I think we just need to continue doing that and put our focus on educating our children. And that's where we need to go.
Okay, thank you. Dennis, same question?
Yeah, I have to agree that it's about the education of our children. The religion and all that needs to be in home and needs to be the parents' decision on what their kids are going to do, and not that of the schools. We're there to educate our children, to teach them how to read, write, and arithmetic, and not try to get down into the weeds of religion and all that. That's not the focus of the school district. And so I think it's best that we just focus on the fact that our academies are for every student, not just the ones that are, have a better grade average than the others. And that's important, that every student in our district has the ability to make decisions to do something in the event they're not going to go to college, or to prepare them more for college. So that's my idea on it.
Okay, thank you. Brandy? Brandy, you're on mute. There.
Yes, I'm here. We have to make sure that our students, every single one of them, feels safe at school and welcomed. And I think that it's important that we have an educated staff, and that they know that, we have a separation of church and state, and that students are all respected, no matter their religion, no matter their choice in how they live their lives. And yes, we absolutely want to focus on their education, but in order to focus on their education, we have to build relationships with them. So they should feel honored and respected, no matter who they are. So that has to be respected. And sometimes that's a struggle for educators. So there definitely has to be a place for educators to know how to do that. And that takes training.
Sorry, Brandy.
Oh.
Time.
That's okay.
Jason, same question.
Thank you for asking this question. We just need to be more empathetic and understanding and accepting. As long as there have been humans, there have been different kinds of humans who like different things, who identify in different ways, who worship in different ways, and that's okay. It's just different than what we do. It's not an attack on what we do personally. So all religions should be taught at home and separated from school. The district isn't doing a great job at promoting that image, though. Central office has a giant Christian mural right on the side of the building, right next to where the Board of Education meets on Tuesdays every month. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And as adults, we don't get to go around, telling other people what gender they are or what they identify as or who they are. And school shouldn't be any different. School should be the safest place for kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy, same question?
Yeah, I think we start with just celebrating our beautiful differences. I mean, there are all kinds of things that make us different, and it's a beautiful thing that every time our kids walk into our ISD schools, they're basically interacting with the global community, and that's a fantastic asset that we have. But I think goal number one is that all students should feel safe and welcome, and the ways that we can do that include representation. And I don't just mean we want to make sure that our students know that they're not alone. And that can also mean representation on our committees and our boards. Lee Summit just implemented a student board of education, which I think is a fantastic idea to really value their viewpoints and ensure that they've got a seat at the table. It's also important to have affirmation, make sure that students know that we like them just the way that they are when they come to us, and also inclusion, and to make sure that they know that their experience matters and we appreciate it and the value that it brings.
Thank you. Carrie, same question?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the truth is we're going to have lots and lots of different people and kids that come to our public schools. Public schools are designed for all. It's important that we embrace our differences, but we need to focus on really what makes us great and what makes us the same. And that for me is about providing equal opportunity for education. Now in the ISD, I know that they have ways that they are focusing on the greatness of our kids. For instance, in our middle schools, we use the AVID program to help to give our kids life skills that are going to help them throughout their education process, help them to have learn techniques that are going to help them to communicate with each other, but also give them skills for going to college and being successful in high school in their academia. So we really just need to work on making sure that we're meeting the needs of our kids and focusing on what makes us great.
Thank you. And Zach, same question?
This is a hard question for a theology professor to answer in 60 seconds, but I'll give it a go. I think the starting place is to ensure that we are training our teachers and staff. The reality is, while I would be the first to champion the truth that religion should not be taught or be part of any kind of curriculum within a public education, our education doesn't happen in a vacuum. Every student, every teacher, every staff member that we have, their morals, ethics, and values are shaped by their faith or them having no faith. And so ensuring that we understand the different intersections of this creates a more curious and empathetic culture. And our students are going to bring those things to the classroom, to the school, and it's going to impact behaviors and other experiences. So creating a culture of hospitality, a culture of curiosity, and then ensuring that we're training our staff and faculty to understand some of the intersectional dynamics that are at work in our community is essential.
Thank you. Okay, the next question we'll start with Brandy, and it is: school expansion, open enrollment, and private school vouchers are current hot topics in the Missouri legislature. What are your views on the school choice movement? Your views on the school choice movement? And you're on mute, Brandy.
So as much as I would love to give parents choice, public dollars are for public schools, and if we are allowing vouchers to happen, that is only taking public dollars from public schools. So it makes everything very complicated, and it is going to take money away from the programs we are able to offer to our public schools. So there are just so many things that we are allowed to do with that money that goes to our public schools. And although they like to take that down to a student level, that's just not how it works. And it makes it really complicated to be able to do what we do if we take a certain amount away from when we take one kid away from a program and offer that for them to be able to go to private school or vice versa, or send it to a public school for them to choose what school they go to. So
Thank you.
public school dollars should stay in public schools. Okay.
Thank you, Brandy. Same question, Zach.
Yeah, like all political issues, it would depend on specifically what we are talking about. In general, how I've experienced this conversation is about public dollars and publicly funded education. And in that conversation, I am not for school choice. I work for a private liberal arts university, and I would never expect the state to subsidize that education as part of a private university. So public dollars do need to be reserved for public schools. And we shouldn't be subsidizing private or charter schools that are not represented by elected folks who represent the community serving that education. So unless I'm missing something, I would agree with Brandy that public dollars are reserved for the public good in a public education that has duly elected representatives of the community.
Thank you. Eric, same question?
Yeah, I would echo all of that. As a school board member, you have to advocate for public education, and open enrollment, private vouchers, they all take money away from the public education field. Vouchers a lot of times go to students who are already in private schools, and the charter schools don't have to take every student. So in that regard, I would agree. Public funds should stay in the public school system, so that we can educate all of our kids. So I would agree.
Okay, thank you. Carrie? You're on mute.
I'm sorry, had a hard time getting it off mute. I absolutely agree with all that have gone before me. Public dollars need to stay in public education. I am not a fan of taking money away to serve a few. They're the same, you know, there's charter schools, private schools, they don't have to do the same mandates or expectations when it comes to testing and the way that they're held accountable to the learning and making sure that they have outcomes for what those dollars are being given for. And so I just think it's really important that that public funds stay in public schools.
Thank you. Jason? And
Same here. Public dollars belong in public schools. If you start taking that away, then the financial stability that Ms. Dixon talked about, it's gone for the district. If we start doing that, the certified teachers that we have, they're gone too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that private schools don't have to have certified teachers. Teachers don't have need to have a teaching degree. So
correct.
that's even more the reason to have public schools, certified teachers, and to help our children be able to manage their lives, prepare them to be able to manage their lives and be a participant in democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis, same question?
Sure. The one thing good I can say is that ISD has been financially stable since 2009. And I think if we were to do what the legislators are talking about and going with the private charters and open enrollment, that's going to cause a problem with that. I totally believe that, like all the rest of the candidates, I think that's something that we can all agree upon, that public dollars need to stay with public schools. And that's just as simple as that.
Okay, thank you. And Wendy?
Yes, hello. And I'm glad to hear that everybody who wants to serve on a public school board supports public dollars for public education, because that's how it should go. Yeah, private schools don't have to play by the same rules. They can choose who they accept. They have zero accountability compared to what a public school district would have. So it's important to keep those dollars with our public schools.
Okay. Following along the same lines, we'll start with Jason with this question. Does the school district allow homeschool students to enroll in a school district class to participate in sports or other activities? What are the requirements, if any?
I actually don't know the full protocol for this. I do believe that they just started allowing homeschooled students to participate in sports at public schools. I don't see any problem with that. as far as classes go, I think it would be important to allow homeschoolers to participate in some of that. For example, we go out to Cleveland University, Kansas City every year, and we go through the anatomy lab and view cadavers and help to identify what diseases may have led to death. And that would be great for any student, homeschool or not. I would welcome them along with that.
Thank
That's all I
you.
have. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis?
Well, I don't believe in allowing homeschooled kids to be in our sports or participating in any of the activities at our public schools. You have a concern about vetting all of these kids to make sure they're good kids, for one thing, and not a problem. And I think we would get into a little bit of an issue of trying to weed out who should be there and who shouldn't. It would just add another step to our administration that doesn't need to be done. So I'm not in favor of that.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
ISD does not have a program that allows homeschool kids I'm aware of to participate in sports in the public schools. And I think that's probably the way it should be, although I don't bemoan anybody that homeschools their kids. But part of the experience of being in school and being in public school is our sports and our activities. And that allows kids to grow personally and socially. And it builds those bonds of friendship that they gain by participating. And I actually don't believe MSHA that allows that as well. So anyway, that's kind of where I would stand on it. And we don't currently participate in any type of program like that.
Okay, thank you. Wendy?
I could see value in it, especially in some of the upper level, like math and science classes, where someone might not be able to get the training that they would get, to get the training at home that they would get from a certified teacher. But yeah, I don't believe it exists now. We currently do not allow our ISD virtual students to participate in dances and such, which I think is something that should come first because they are ISD students, and I would love to be able to see them participate. But for the homeschoolers, I would support classes, yes, as like part-time enrollment and such. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach?
Yeah, one of the important things about serving on the school board for me is that, I think it's really important that we listen to the data. If you've watched any of these forums or listened to me throughout this campaign, I want to be informed by the data. I'm not an expert in this area, right? So I would want to know what MSHA suggests, what the data is out there to suggest any conflicts or issues may arise through this. In terms of the sports aspect, I think to Wendy's point, depending on a student's credit level or how many hours they're enrolled in at a school would dictate then what MSHA policy or school district policy should be. But I would want to make sure that I'm listening to the people who are experts in the field of high school sports or public, education sports to make sure that I'm making an informed decision. And I would want to make sure that the data we use to make any policy or non-policy, that data and those conversations, those studies were available to all the public to review and understand how we came to our decision.
Thank you. Brandy? You're on mute.
Yes, I'm going to echo a few of those scenarios. I was thinking that MSHA did not allow that to happen and would want to evaluate this situation for that reason. Just look into it and see what the MSHA regulations are and research what any particular cases were, the reasoning why we have the homeschool situation as well, and echo Wendy on that as well. We have some students that are on virtual programs, and if they want to participate in school activities, do we want to allow that? And just look into any kind of situation where, why are we not allowing students to participate, or should we not? And have some data to back up each scenario.
Okay, thank you. Carrie?
Thank you.
Yeah, so I am confident in my answer that Misha does not allow homeschool kids to participate in high school sports or middle school sports, because that's where Misha kind of like comes into play. So that is a governing body that would speak into that. It's not an ISD decision when it comes to sports. I will say that this kind of falls in the line of choice. Parents have a choice to send their kids to public schools where we're going to educate all, right? Or they can decide that they want to take control of their child's education and do that at home. Unfortunately, I think it's kind of one of those cases where you get it or you don't get it. Like, we can't have an in-between when it comes to public education. So we need to make sure that we're guarding the funds and the public facilities, and we're using them for the kids who are going to public education. And my time is up.
Thank you. Thank you. I was following along and I was so interested in what you were saying. I wasn't even watching that. We have another one. We want to talk about DESE, and we'll start with you, Zach. According to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, DESE, the independent school district has an attendance rate of 66.6%. What can be done to improve it? You're on mute.
Yep, sorry. I was writing down the question. I wanted to make sure I heard it. This is a really interesting question, and one that actually, since our last forum, I've been trying to research more. And the data is really interesting. You'll hear the district say that since we've implemented the 4-day school week, our attendance is up almost 2%, which is great news. But when you look at state data, it indicates that we still have quite a ways to go. And there's some conflicting information on what that specifically means when you go underneath the overall attendance rate. I am by no means an expert. I currently don't sit on the board. I have not done the necessary dive to make sure that I understand this fully, but as I'm running for a seat, I've wanted to make sure I know what I'm talking about, and I'm getting a lot of conflicting information depending on where you go and who you talk to. And that's a problem. So there are a number of things we can do to improve our attendance. I know that was the question, but for me, this question points back to, why is the data so difficult to get, and why isn't it more transparent for the community to make their own decisions or understand the problem?
Thank you. Jason?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm going to pretty much copy what Zach said, or echo what Zach said. The fact that finding this information is so difficult is part of the problem. I appreciate that we're being asked these, like inside baseball questions, but when you can't access the information or how things are run or the problems that we have or the tools in place internally to help deal with these, we're kind of left floating in the wind here. We want the same thing for kids. We want kids to be in school and attend as much as possible. I feel that the 4-day school week really hurts that. Like, COVID is still a thing. Kids still get sick and miss several days of school. And then, they can spend up to a month trying to make that up if they do at all. What we can't do is start to manufacture numbers that may or may not be true, trying to fudge attendance numbers to make us look better. We cannot do that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Carrie?
Some creative answers. I'm not sure that we're fudging any numbers here. DESE actually has all of this information readily available to us. And so all you have to do is basically Google DESE, and it's going to get you to a website where you can go in and you can see exactly what's happening in the independent school district. The percentage, that number is the percentage of kids who attend 90% of the time or greater is 66%. So we have to kind of actually understand what DESE is asking, and then go for that to get your percentage. We also need to understand that in the independent school districts, we serve children it's just about 70% of free and reduced kids. We have a very big transient rate of kids that come into the district and out of the district. We serve a large portion of kids that have high risk needs. And so when we're talking about percentage increases, it's important that we recognize where our kids are coming from and where we're taking them to. And so
Thank you.
our kids are doing great with the 4-day week.
Thank you. Dennis.
Well, since COVID, I think every district is having a hard time trying to get the increase of student population back to where it was before COVID. I think one of the things we could do to help with that is maybe get the FSLs and counselors and even our SROs involved in going out to school to kids' houses and finding out what's going on and try to see if there's any services or resources that we can provide to make sure that student is in school, and or if there's something that we can do to help make that better for them.
Okay, thank you. Brandy? Go ahead.
Yes, there is definitely a chronic absenteeism issue, and I think that there is a nationwide problem with this. And the big problem is students have to want to be at school, and I think that a big piece of that would be family engagement. And I think that's where our district really lacks, is trying to build positive relationships with families. And a letter to the family that is more accusatory and just saying it's more like a punishment, instead of trying to maybe speak with the parents and visit them, would be a good idea. That might be a better way to approach it, and also just building relationship with those students in school. But also, there are programs where you can hire out people that are extra employees, that not just FSLs, but also just an additional employees that do that kind of job. So I think it would be likely an FSL.
Thank you. Thanks, Brandy.
Thank you.
Wendy?
Yeah. Attendance Works, the organization, has done a lot of research on this. And what they have found is that nothing grows in a garden of shame. And if we look at it with more of a carrot mindset versus a stick, if we really work to talk to people to find out where they're struggling, and lots of states have had success with sending out dedicated teams that can connect directly with the families before they get that nasty letter, and just to check in and be like, hey, your kids missed a couple of days. What's going on? How can we support you? What do you need? And so that they understand that it's not because they're in trouble. This is somebody that can help them get their kid to school, whether it's a transportation issue, whether it's not having clean clothes, whatever it is, they can help find the solution to ensure the kids are getting to school.
Thank you. Next question, and we'll start with you, Dennis. And that is
I didn't get a chance. I don't think I got a chance to answer that one.
Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I just want to say that, attendance has always been something that the district is always looking at. And like Zach had mentioned, the 4-day school week, we're up 2%, close to 2%. And so that's a great thing. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you look at it over the size of our school district, it's 14,000 students. That's a pretty big aggregate average of increase to our students. We do have FSLs. We have probably more FSLs in our school district than most of the school districts around us combined. So we have about 30 of them that are out in the community. They're working with our students. They're finding out ways to get them back into school if they're having issues. So that's something I think is very important in our school district, and we've done very well at that. Yeah, and I would like to mention, Carrie had mentioned, our transient rate in the independent school district is one of the highest in the metro. It's over 30%. So we deal with all these issues all the time, and I think we're doing a great job with what we're doing.
Thank you. Now, Dennis, the next question will be for you. We're going to talk about the 4-day school week. Independence has joined 25% of Missouri schools by going to a 4-day school week. How does this change affect the students, the teachers, and the parents of the district? The superintendent said it went well on a recent KCUR show. but there were several complaints from teachers. How should this change be evaluated?
Well, I think we have to look at the test scores and see how we're doing with that. I think it's a good idea to maybe readdress it with maybe a town hall meeting and hear some of the issues that people have, because to be honest with you, I've only heard a few. And it's usually the younger students that are in elementary school where they might have some issues with daycare. And even that, I haven't heard that lately. So it looks like to me that they have probably worked that out in whatever way. I know the district allows a family to use our daycare facilities on that Monday and charge a very small amount. I believe it's $30. And so I haven't heard anything lately that is derogatory toward the 4-day school week. I know I like it because I get time with my grandkids, and I know it helps with them going to the doctor and various things like that.
Thank you. Eric, 4-day school week?
I'm a proponent of this right now. I think we've done just a tremendous job with the 4-day school week. Like Dennis, I haven't received a lot of pushback on it. Matter of fact, I'm hearing more positive things from our teachers than I am negative things about it. I'm sure that there are things that we need to tweak, and we will as we go forward. And I'm sure that it hasn't been the best effect for everybody, but overall, when you look at the district as a whole, and that's how we have to look at it from the school board standpoint, it has been a raging success with our applications for certificated teachers. I mean, we are up 300% this year again in the number of applications that we're receiving. And like I mentioned before, a lot of them were tenured teachers. We also just finished the final touches on a survey that's going to go out soon to our families and our staff and our students. And we're going to get a real feel about how this is working in the district.
Thank you. Zach?
Yeah, thanks. My biggest complaint with the 4-day school week is the decision-making process that we went through to make this decision. It was incredibly lacking. I listened to our superintendent on KCUR the other morning, and I thought he did a masterful job at avoiding the questions that were asked or criticisms that were shared, and moving away into some of the positives. And this is one of the issues, right? There's no published evaluation process of how we're going to evaluate or assess this model. I'm sure we have one. I don't have access to that information. I don't know what the metrics are. And the district keeps saying our applications are up. We have the best of the best, teachers applying. What's the metric for that? How do we know that? Are we supposed to just take the district's word for that? Where's the data to say this is how we know we're getting the best of the best? So when it comes to the 4-day school week, I want information. I want data. I want to be trusted to make my own opinion and then share that in a reciprocal, mutually respectful way with the representatives of my child's education.
Thank you. Brandy?
When you have the culture of fear that exists in this school district, it's very difficult to actually get honest opinions from any parents or staff that works in the district. So when you send out surveys and you ask for any kind of opinions, they're not going to be honest ones. So I think it's going to have to be from an outside source, and it's going to be difficult to get data and information that is accurate. So it's going to have to take a culture shift. And I think you definitely have differing opinions. And there are some people that love it, families and staff alike. And there are some people that feel like they were lied to, and that it's not truly a 4-day week, and they're not getting what they signed up for. So we definitely need some parameters to gauge how we are successful or not. And
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to need some people. Okay.
Time. Sorry. Wendy.
Yeah, for or against the 4-day school week, I think all of us can, at least members of the public, can agree that we didn't feel like we were part of the conversation. It felt like it had already been decided. It felt a rushed last minute town hall, a survey with leading questions that was more, how do we do this versus should we do this? And so I think a lot of us have just struggled with us moving towards something that we never felt like we asked for, that we ever had a say in whatsoever. Some of the issues that Brandy also mentioned is, I think for the first 6 months, our evaluation process was our superintendent walking around asking teachers if they liked it. And I'm not sure that he got honest answers. So I am looking forward to the survey. I hope teachers felt comfortable that they were able to answer it honestly. And then we need to look at that and analyze the data and ensure that we are making the best decisions for our staff, because that's the reason that we moved there, was to recruit and retain staff.
Thank you. Jason?
Yes, public schools are a public service to the community, supported by the community. And in this case, the decision was just made that that's what we're going to do. And if I believe the quote was correct, is they'll figure it out when it comes to the public and parents. And going back to, we have to take our heads out of the sand, please. Going back to the KCUR interview, our superintendent is there presented from a professional broadcaster, direct quotes from teachers that he supervises. And he's like, I have a hard time believing that. I just don't believe it. And then when it comes to the rest of you for your surveys and your feedback, why aren't people telling you the truth? I mean, that's a big question. I know where I live, the 4-day school week is not a success. You have neighbors who are keeping eyes on other houses because you have third graders watching first graders. Okay, this isn't what's best for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. And Carrie?
Oh, there's no way I'm gonna be able to talk about all this in the amount of time. First of all, I want to say that we are asking questions. I can tell you, nobody is scared of Carrie Dixon. When I go into a school, they are telling me truth, and I believe it. They are not saying that they hate the 4-day school week. These teachers are saying that they love it. 95% of our teachers that are first years were given a survey, and they came back with, we really like the 4-day school week. We are currently, as a board, working with Missouri State to put out a survey for our teachers, well, let me just say this, our staff, our parents, and our students in middle school and high school. That survey is being done by an outside entity to make sure that parents, teachers, students don't feel like they can't say their name or give their information or whatever it is that people are saying that's happening. And we're going to be asking the questions. Do you agree or disagree with these concepts?
Thank you. Thanks, Carrie. I think we could probably have a half hour or so on this, at least. So this question, we'll start with you again, Carrie. And it sounds like there's a little bit of conflict going on with the school board, and it sounds like somebody from Independence is concerned. And this question is, what is your stance on conflict of interest among the members of the school board? For example, is it ethical for 2 members of the board to hail from the same family? Ethical for someone whose family member works for the school district, sit on the board, and make policy decisions that affect that family member? Ethical to accept campaign donations from businesses who do work for the school district? And Carrie, you're up first on this one.
I assure you that if you talk to my peers, to the people that work for me or with me, that you will find that I am one of the most ethical people that you will ever meet. And that I can say to you that on the school board, we are not breaking any laws. People are serving with great care to make sure that we're making good decisions for our district. Decisions are not being made to help somebody or not help somebody. I do have a daughter that is a first-year teacher in the school district. I will tell you that I would be, and she would be very disappointed if, because I have chosen to be a servant on the school board for my community, that she couldn't teach her dream job of teaching in a school in the ISD. And that is why laws are in place, so that I could not be the person that would allow my daughter to come and work in the district. Nobody voted. I didn't vote for her to get a job in the district. Someone else did.
Thank you. Thanks. I didn't realize that hit so close to home.
Yeah.
Brandy? Go ahead. Brandy, we can't hear you.
I think there's been some questionable ethics happening on the school board for quite some time. And in all honesty, that might completely be clarified if there were more transparency. But since there isn't, I'm not sure. It might be 100% fine, but it's questionable because there's not really any proof and documentation. So I'm really not sure. I think there's been some questionable donations happen during this campaign, and I think there's been questionable decisions made. And I wish there was documentation provided in agendas and board meeting notes, but that doesn't happen. So who knows?
Okay, thank you. Zach?
Yeah, thank you. This is a pretty difficult question, right? I want to point out that there is a difference between legal and ethical. You know, a lot of things are legal that aren't ethical. And that's an important distinction, I think, to pay attention to, especially when we're talking about elected officials. To this point, Brandy kind of took my thunder, but this is how I was going to answer the question. One of the things I learned in my education of leadership is that the more information you provide, the less suspicious the community or your constituents become, right? Because they have access to as much information as you have in making certain decisions or creating certain processes or systems. So it's really difficult for the community to not feel suspicious when we simply just do not have access to the proper information or data that is being used currently.
Thank you. Eric?
There's nothing unethical going on the board. I serve with probably some of the most ethical and moral people that I've ever served with. And I've known a lot of them a long time. I've served with them in a lot of other community arenas. To make an insinuation that there is just totally absurd. I'll be honest with you. This board serves this district honestly and puts forth the effort each and every month and each and every meeting to serve honestly and with the integrity and with the students' interests in mind. There's no agendas on this school board. There's nobody with an axe to burn. There's nothing going on there. And I just got to say, there's no conflict of interest going on that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Jason?
Sure. I'd like to start out by actually answering the question and saying that I am not related to anybody who's on the school board. Again, with what Zach said, legal is not the baseline for ethical. They are very different things. And nobody, when we question ethics, we're not saying that somebody's a bad person or somebody just doesn't have the right morals. There's just a higher standard to live up to when you are an elected body. Okay? You have a higher duty to the community and to be transparent. What has happened with the candidate donations is I was shocked, absolutely shocked by that on more than one count. So you guys aren't even following your own policies right now. Nepotism is spelled out throughout the policies, and it's not being followed right now. I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy?
Yeah, I'm going to echo some things that were already said, but I will agree that I don't think anybody here is a bad person. However, I do think that there were some unfortunate choices in accepting campaign donations from certain people, which anybody is welcome to return, and then it's over and done with. Like others have said, just because something is legal doesn't make it right. And I think that we need to hold ourselves up to a higher standard. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dennis?
Well, the district has nepotism policies and they abide by those. One of the things about projects, they are all bid publicly, and those are also available to the public when asked for. There is documentation on all of that. When it comes to our employees and people who donate to candidates, they're still United States citizens. They still are allowed to vote, and they have a voice just like everybody else does. And they can donate their money in whatever way, as long as it's legal and appropriate.
Thank you. Could you briefly tell us about an elementary or high school teacher who influenced your desire to be on the school board? And we will start with Eric. Someone who, Dennis, can you go on?
I'm sorry.
I asked Dennis to go on mute.
Oh, I actually attended a private school when my parents sent me to a private school when I was in high school and elementary school. And so I had various teachers. Probably my elementary teacher would have been my history teacher. She was very hands-on, just a very good person and a very good teacher. Really taught you everything. I just really loved her a lot. In high school, I would say again, probably my science teacher had a big influence on me. They were just great people. They took the time to teach you. They spent time with you whenever you needed help. And yeah, that educational experience really gave me a passion for seeing kids succeed. And that's what I really love the most about being on the school board.
Good, thank you. Dennis? Oops, you're on mute, Dennis. We'll come back to Dennis. Brandy, someone who influenced you, one of your early teachers? And Brandy, you're on mute. Brandy?
Yes, actually, mine would be Ron Clemens. And he is still an influential member of our community now, but he was my journalism teacher and yearbook advisor. And he was just so passionate about teaching us about ethics and journalism and what was the important message to convey in our articles. And I just loved his way of educating us. So I learned a lot about teaching, but looking back on that, when I decided to run for school board, it was really his way of standing up for what was right that really influenced me to decide to run for the school board.
Okay, thank you. Jason?
Yes, I'm going to have to give credit to two people here. First one is my second grade teacher, Mrs. Marriott. She was the first to recognize that I wasn't in a great childcare environment at that time and worked to help get me out of that with our school counselor. I remember she was in between each classroom. There was a corridor office and we were in there and she was trying to teach me or test me on how to read analog clocks. And she could tell something was wrong with me. And then I just broke down in front of her. And she really came through for me. The next one is my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Parks. I was getting bored in class and starting to act out a little bit. And she recognized that there was something in me and recommended me for IMPACT, the Independence Missouri program for the academically and creatively talented. And it changed the trajectory of my education. I went from coloring index cards in fourth grade to dissecting frogs in fourth grade. It was life-changing. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy?
Oh, there are so many, but I'm going to single out one. I grew up on the Kansas side, and before moving to Independence to raise my family in the home that my husband grew up in. Um, and I graduated from Shawnee Mission North, and my journalism teacher there, Becky Lucas Tate, really taught me the importance of not giving up and of asking the right questions and of ensuring that you're getting good answers and reporting on that. And it's kind of been my involvement with our school board for the past 3 years, is just ensuring that things are communicated and working on my Facebook page to share information that you can't find elsewhere. And so thanks, Becky.
Thank you. Carrie?
Yeah, I would say that a teacher that made an impact for me was Miss Gregory in my high school years. She was a psychology teacher. Some of the things that stand out for me was her ability to instill leadership in me. She actually asked me to proctor for her outside of her class, so I came and proctored for her for an hour. She gave me things to do. She trusted me. She was very influential in allowing me to try new things. I think that there were a lot of teachers, though, in my life that never let my disability or inability dictate who I was. And that was super powerful. I believe that I am the kind of leader that I am today because I don't want to use be stopped by what people will see, but actually at the heart of who the person is, and use those qualities to bring out the best in other people.
Thank you. Zach?
So I'm going to be a moment of vulnerability with you all. I was not the greatest student growing up. I was that student. I was difficult. I was a class clown who didn't think the rules applied to me, and I pushed about every boundary and button that I could find as a young person. And that made me really hard to educate. And any educators who are listening, no, you're already thinking, oh my God, I would have hated if he was in my class. But two teachers stand out to me, and they're both music teachers. My elementary music teacher, Miss Gunn, my high school band director, Mr. Reinhardt. These are educators that loved me no matter what, and they showed up every time there was a good reason to kick me out and not welcome me back. They saw something deeper in me, and while I think that is a virtue that is true of every single person who chooses to be an educator, they exemplified it, and our friendships have lasted to this day, and I'm so grateful for their influence in my life.
Thank you. Thank you. We've come to the time, we've run
Can I
out of
answer?
time for
I'm sorry, can I
questions.
answer?
Oh, Dennis, I am so sorry. Yes.
Sorry, I've got a 55-pound, 7-month-old lab that thinks she needed attention. So I'm sorry. I had to get away real quick, but
And I put a big star by your name so I wouldn't miss you.
that's okay.
I am so sorry. I do that every time. I
That's
apologize.
okay. I've got a couple of teachers in mind, and my first grade teacher was Connie Deister, and she also was my 7th grade teacher. Connie was widowed when I was in first grade, had a daughter who was going through college, and was just a constant reminder of how to keep going and keep doing the right thing and just keep trudging on. She became my 7th grade teacher. I guess, I don't know, promotion or whatever, but also she kind of prepared me for the middle school or junior highs, as we call it back then, and was always a good friend. She would listen to whatever it was that I had to say, and we became good friends. Mr. Fike was my band teacher, stage band director and orchestra, and was just a great friend to me. I even went back and played in plays and what have you for him whenever he
Thanks.
needed an extra instrument.
Thanks, Dennis. So it's about time for us to wrap up, and we're going to give you a moment to collect your thoughts. You'll have a 2-minute closing remarks. I want to thank you all for joining us. In addition, we'd like to ask that you share the League's website with your voters and encourage all citizens to show up for the election on April 2nd. Now we're going to start, and we will start with you, Jason. So 2 minutes for closing remarks.
All right. I love this district and I love this city. That's why I came back here. I lived in Texas, Kansas, and I came back to Independence to open my office and to raise my family. Because I expected that same educational experience that I had growing up. I still want to provide that for them. And I think we can if we work together and help to promote some change, some positive change and transparency. No one here has agendas or is trying to do anything crazy. We all want what is best for our kids and for every kid, not just our kids. If you're a parent out there and you find yourself just perpetually upset, frustrated, sad, watching your child, struggle and not knowing how to help or what quite to do, or not able to get the answers that you want, this is your time to vote for change. This is what public school allows you to do. It allows you to have a say on who the management is of your school district. So please vote for change this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandy, your closing remarks, 2 minutes. And yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I, again, same as Jason, born and raised in Independence, and I love our community, and I'm just sad to see how many quality educators we've seen walk out the door along with their families. So I would love to see some change, and change in transparency and engagement with our community, and would love to have some parents be able to say, I'm able to interact with our educational programming and have student voice and staff voice. So these are the kind of things we want to bring to the table, and we want everyone to have a seat at the table. So if you would like to visit my website, it is brandyparente4kids.org. So brandyparente4kids.org. And would love to bring all the voices to the table to work to make Independence even better.
Great.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much
Brandy,
for
and
listening
thanks
tonight.
for calling in from France.
Thank you.
Eric?
Yes, thank you again for this time. I feel like there's just so many great things happening. We have, in addition to the 4-day school week, bringing in probably more quality educators than we've ever seen before, apply to be educators here. Not only that, but classified personnel as well. But just some things that are going really well. Our annual performance review just was reported by DESE, and we had the largest increase in Jackson County. And we were only one of 2 school districts that actually had an increase in our APR. And it was the largest in the state amongst school districts, larger school districts that would classify that as having 2 or more high schools. So that's a big thing. And there's academic achievement scores in there. There's AP courses in there. There's graduation rates. There's all kinds of different things that go into that annual performance review. And you're welcome to go to DESE and pull that information up. We also have some of the largest growth of any school district in the metropolitan area across math, ELA, science, social studies. And again, this information is all out on DESE's website. And we actually had the largest uptick in growth per student of any district around us. So that's a great thing. So academically, we are doing awesome things, and we are bringing people into our community. And I really think we have strong schools, and stronger schools mean a stronger community. I'm a big advocate for Independence. Lived here for 27 years, more than 27 years, actually, over 30 years. And Both my kids have gone through the school district. My wife's a product of the school district. So we are vested here, and I love this. I love this community. I love these people. I love the students, and I love everything about what's going on right now. So thank you for the time.
Thank you. Zach?
I'd like to take the last 10 seconds of Eric's and just put that in the first 10 seconds of mine. Yes. I like all of us, right? None of us would be running for this office if we didn't absolutely love this city and love our schools. I'm a product of our schools. I'm a product of this city. Like Jason, I lived all around the US and consciously made the choice to move back here and raise my family here, because it matters and it's important. I agree with my colleagues that there are some great things happening in our school district, and those are largely because we have some incredible educators. But the board's job is to hold our superintendent accountable and govern the public good, which is our public schools. I'm running to increase the transparency. It's hard to have mutual participation in the community when not all the data is accessible. We've talked about attendance tonight. The superintendent has told us it's up 2%. We've been told go to DESE. You can only get DESE through the 23 school year. So we don't actually have the 4 months of attendance data that was used to say it's gone up 2%. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm saying it's not published, and I can't access it as a father and a community member to participate in that conversation. There's restrictions in place for how I can and cannot communicate with the board and participate in that process for my child's education. So I want to increase the transparency. I want to make sure the data is fully available without a particular lens being applied to it, and ensure that the full context of data is being used. And perhaps more importantly than anything, I want to empower the voices of our community. Because our public schools are a public good, we should have a reciprocal, mutually respectful relationship with our community. The city runs through the schools. Education isn't in a vacuum. We need to run our schools in such a way that it empowers and inspires and transforms Independence, Missouri. If you want to see that change, then vote for me on April 2nd.
Super. Thanks, Zach. And next we go to Dennis.
Well, I have either worked or lived in Independence all my life. The last 7 years, I have seen great things happen with this school district. Bonds being passed with over a 80% approval rate. Wonderful things happening to remodel our schools and make them safer for both the students and our staff, and just wonderful things that have happened with this board and the boards before. And I want to keep the board going the way it has been going. To me, I have seen so much growth with the district, with our kids, and things that are happening that is just improving our schools just tremendously. I believe that is what we're supposed to do as school board members, and is to manage what's going on and not have an axe to grind or an agenda. It's to run a board meeting for the finances and the working on the properties and enhancements of our school district.
Thank you. Carrie?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing that I would focus on first and foremost is that we have great teachers in our school. We have great staff that are highly dedicated to doing the tasks that they've been hired to do. And we are in good shape in the ISD. We are filling positions with qualified people who are certified and want to be in Independence. I think that the 4-day school week has helped with that. And when we say 4-day school week, we need to remember that we're talking about 15 additional days that our kids are not in school. But those hours that those kids go to school have remained the same. They're not going to school less than what they did last year. They're going to school the same. Our teachers are quality in our district. They're teaching good education that is exactly what we want our kids to learn. I think it's important that we keep politics out of school and we focus on what's important to our kids and their education. A school board member really does have a job at hand, and that job is not to micromanage and to get in the weeds and to say that that coach is doing a bad job or this school needs another water fountain on the second floor. I can advocate for making sure that our school gets more water fountains, but that doesn't mean that I get to make the decision to do that. That's the administration's job to take care of all of that. I can echo some of the things that I've heard here tonight, but really, I just want us to focus on making sure that everybody knows if you want to get a hold of me, don't hesitate to reach out. dixonforisd@gmail.com. That's my email address. You also can reach me on my school district email address. It's listed on our website. Everybody has access to us at all times. All of our reports and all of that information actually is available to us in quarterly reports.
Thanks,
and
Carrie.
online.
Thank you. Wendy, your closing remarks, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to again say thank you to you, Cheryl, and to the rest of the League of Women Voters team for having us tonight. I am proud of the public conversation that I have started regarding transparency, accessibility, and accountability. But I'll be honest, it hasn't been easy. I've been scolded, I've been threatened. There were even efforts to remove me as a PTA leader. And why? It's because I was asking questions. It was because I was speaking out. I was valuing staff voices, and I was working to ensure all of us have a seat at the table. While some of us may tout our positive outlooks, that's something that I think is only a qualification for beauty pageants. I think we need to have the hard conversations about why we're making the decisions that we're making. I've been dismissed as noise on social media and a troublemaker, but as the great John Lewis said, never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in trouble, good trouble. I've been making noise and good trouble for the past 3 years, and very little has improved. We can make ISD stronger. I need your vote to continue what I've started, because it's what's best for ISD kids and it's what's best for ISD families. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Anitra?
Thank you, audience, for your thoughtful, provoking questions and your interest in the April 2nd election. And we also want to thank our moderator, Cheryl Barnes. And I want to add my thank you to the candidates. You're the candidates I get to vote for, and you've just made it extremely difficult. A recording of this forum will be available in the League's website, lwvkc.org. Please take a moment to share our candidate forums via your Facebook page, Nextdoor, and other favorite social media channels. And remember, for complete voting information and candidate information, visit lwvkc.org and vote411.org. Thank you and good night.
Thank you all. And to leave, the little red button in the lower right-hand corner will say leave, and then the second one will say, are you really sure? And then you punch